Hello, Journey family and friends. Welcome to Midweek Conversation. It's Pastor John, joined this week by two special guests, one you know very well and one we're going to let you get to know a little bit. This is Pastor Randy Green and Pastor Misha. I'm going to let you say your last name.
Shakurov.
Pastor Misha
Shakurov.
What he said. So that's awesome. We'll get you acquainted with Pastor Misha here just a little bit and why he's joining us. But so glad you are able to join us. We hope everybody watching now has their power back.
Man.
You went without power for a little while there, didn't you, Pastor Randy?
I did. My power came on right in the middle of your sermon on Sunday morning. So we
Powerful
got the power.
sermon. The powerful sermon.
Powerful sermon.
That's what I'm talking about.
And we were grateful.
Preached that power right back into the house there. But you seriously, it went out on Wednesday for you?
Yeah, well, it went out on Thursday morning and at 5:30, and we didn't get it back until during service.
And Pastor Misha and his wife and three children are staying with you.
Yeah, welcome to America.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to Florida. Welcome to Florida. Welcome to America during this period of time. Well, we're very happy that you got your power back. We didn't lose power this time. I was fully expecting it because in Irma, back in 2017, we lost power for like 5 days, and it is no fun. So I felt your pain with that, and I know Pastor Dustin, Pastor Russell, J.D. Edgar from our staff, Tammy Joseph. There were several on our staff that didn't have power, but I think everybody got it back.
Yeah, we were a little bit envious and covetous because we don't even live a quarter of a mile from you.
Yeah, right. I mean, seriously. Yeah, exactly.
Almost throw a rock and hit your house.
Yeah. And you know, Sweetwater West is a neighborhood that adjoins the Palms where we live, and I heard generators running over there.
Yeah.
And so their neighborhood didn't have power, and just another, fence yard over, we had power. So who knows? Our friend Chuck Shegda, who runs our Food for Life ministry, I don't know if you've kept up with Chuck. Chuck Shegda said he lost power on Tuesday. Way before the hurricane came, he lost power, was without it till yesterday, had it back for 12 hours and lost it again, and didn't know when he was going to get it back on.
Does he have a generator?
I'm not sure. So Chuck, our thoughts are with you, brother, you and Mona, and sorry about that, but Chuck's got a great sense of humor about it all. So
I'll call you, Chuck, in just a little bit and see if you have a generator. If you don't, I'll get you one.
There you go. That sounds like, see, another reason why people should watch Midweek Conversations is exactly because of that. Hey, we do hope you're well, and it has been quite a week here. Last Sunday before all this happened seems like a year ago.
Yeah, it does.
This was a long week for a lot of people, and a lot of people were hurting. And so we're just so grateful that we're able to be with you. And we had a great group out on Sunday for worship. We had both out of Popka and Lake County. We had really full services, and some of them maybe just came to get in the air conditioning. I'm not sure, to get a cold drink of water.
Yeah.
But
that could have been a motivating factor for our family a little bit.
So I kind of changed the message I was going to do. I was going to start a new series, and I'll get to that at the end. But I wanted to just talk about the moment that we're in, and specifically speak to how Jesus is with us in these particular moments and storms of our life. And so if you get a chance to watch that, it might be an encouragement to you. It might be an encouragement to somebody you know. Another thing that's happening a lot is people are asking, what are we doing for churches in Southwest Florida? And we're still figuring that out because they're still figuring it out. And we're just not exactly sure what the needs are right now. But there's some churches that we know of that definitely impacted down in Fort Myers, Cape Coral, and Port Charlotte. So we'll let you know about that.
Yeah, we actually got a phone call a while ago from a lady that had bought a brand new generator and said, hey, look, if y'all are going down south, I want to give that generator away. And so when we do go down there, we've got at least one generator.
So probably, certainly on the weekends and in our midweek conversations, we'll keep you up to date about what's happening and how we're trying to help. We're so happy to have Pastor Misha with us today. Randy, first time you met Misha was in Tomsk, Did I say that right?
Yeah, Tomsk.
Siberia.
Tomsk, Siberia. Yeah.
And that's a long way away from here.
Yes, it is. It's what is it? 12 hours. It's halfway across the world. 12 hours away. Yeah.
12-hour time difference.
Time difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably longer to fly there, though.
Oh my, yeah.
That's just the time difference.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just a time difference. Yeah, I met Misha. We were having a campaign, and some guys were coming from the States, and they were coming down, and I was looking for translators, and so Misha was. I guess you were a senior in the Pedagogical Institute there, and so I asked for a bunch of translators, and he was one of them. And so he started translating for us and doing that. And then finally one day he said, "Look, I don't want to be paid right now. I got some questions I need to be answered." And so of course we went ahead and paid him anyway. But
Yeah.
But he said, "I want to be off the clock," and so he did, and he accepted Christ and was baptized into Christ, and his mom was baptized, and then his sister, and then later on Oksana was, and he's got a whole family now that are Christians. But it all started in the middle of March of 1995 when there was about this much ice. I don't know how much snow, but about this much ice on the sidewalks.
Wow. And that's where you grew up, in that area, right? Tomsk?
Yeah, Tomsk is where I was born and grew up.
Wow. That's that just sounds cold to me. Anywhere in Siberia sounds really cold to me.
Any place warmer than Tomsk is.
Well, that's a great story, and that's when you and Sandra went over to plant a church in Tomsk, which you did.
Right.
And Misha and his family became a part of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Now, let's jump forward a little bit. Then you leave, years later you go back to Kazakhstan.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. And you plant a church in Kazakhstan.
Yeah, I was getting ready to plant a church in Sandra, and I was going to plant a church there in Kazakhstan. And Misha called me, and he said, "Hey, I want to go with you to Kazakhstan." And I said, "Mish, you're the pastor there at Tomsk. Well, that's what we trained you up to do." And he says, "Well, can only Americans be missionaries? Can we Russians not be missionaries?" And I said, "Well, yeah, you can."
Now that you put it that way. Yeah.
So anyway, I said, "Talk to your leadership there, and if they'll let you go, then I just don't want to snatch you out, although I really wanted them to."
Yeah.
Yeah, and because we love you so much and care for you. And
That's mutual.
and stuff. Can I tell one story about him?
Sure, absolutely.
When he first became a Christian, he about a week or two after he was baptized into Christ, he got a job up north. If you can go north further than Siberia from where we were, up in the, he was in the oil fields up there. And so he said, "Hey, what do I do?" And I said, "Well, just take the Bible, start in Genesis, and just start reading through it, and just write down your questions." And so he said, "Okay." So he comes, what was it? 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks. 3 weeks later, he had read the whole Bible. And he had a notebook. He had this little grin. Do that little grin thing that you do, like.
On command.
No, he had this notebook, and it's about this thick. Okay, and
Well, that's not a little notebook, Randy.
yeah. Well, I mean, it was a notebook. It was huge, and he said, he just kind of grinned, and he said, I don't know if we're going to have time to go through all these questions. I got a few questions. I look at that. And this was a Holy Spirit moment. I said, "Well, how many times do you read the Bible?" He said, "Just once." I said, "Oh, my goodness. Go back through there and read that thing. Half those questions will be answered." And so he did. So anyway.
Well, Misha, you serve with someone in Kazakhstan. Tell us a little bit about Sasha. He's been with us before as well, but he serves with you in Kazakhstan as well, right?
Yes, Sasha and his family, he's there. He's leading the church as well. So doing a great job.
Yeah. So Misha, we're talking about a part of the world that's in a lot of attention right now, obviously with Russia and Kazakhstan. How close is Kazakhstan to, I mean, does it border Russia?
It borders Russia.
On the north?
It's, northeast. Yeah, and it's a long border between Russia and Kazakhstan.
Yeah, so it's right there. And,
yeah.
And then on another border is China, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So just think about that. you got Russia on one side and China on the other side. And Kazakhstan is not a small country. It's a large country.
Yeah, it's a large country.
So I think in 2017, Randy, is when we went over you went over and took a trip. Melinda and I actually went on that trip as well. Right. And I got it. It's in Almaty, not Almighty, but Almaty, Kazakhstan. That's the capital, right?
Well, it used to be.
Used to be. That's right. Yeah, used to be.
Astana is now.
Okay, gotcha. And but it's the largest city. In Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a big place, and got to see a little bit of the work at the church. You have a home there that you started called the Lighthouse.
Right.
But what's the church called?
Called Light of Jesus.
Light of Jesus. So there's a Light of Jesus church, and there's a lighthouse. Tell them what those buildings are being used for right now.
The lighthouse is used right now for a lot of people who are fleeing Russia from being drafted into the war. That a lot of people think they don't see any point. They disagree with the war, and they don't want to just be sent to die without any reason. They don't want to be a part of that. So they announced, while we were in the U.S. During this trip, they announced the draft. And they said that anyone from age 18 to 65 can be drafted. And a lot of people just took off, and what I've read is 261,000 men left the country in 3 days after that announcement. So
you said 100,000 of them came to Kazakhstan.
Yeah, 100,000 came to Kazakhstan. Some to stay. Some use that as a transit point. But a lot of people are there, looking for a place to live, looking for a job, and so I've been reading in our church chats that people have been trying to get money to buy mattresses, and that's what those two buildings are used for right now, just to host families that had to move, just take off and take the whole family. And
any idea of how many that would be, numbers-wise, that are staying there?
We've read in the chats the numbers of 30, 40 people, and they keep getting requests because people are coming from all over Russia, and whoever can get a contact, they post on Instagram, there's a family from Moscow looking for a place to live. Anybody knows a realtor. So, it's a ongoing thing, and it's getting worse and worse, and, it's going to be pretty bad. It's already tough for a lot of people. So it's something we've never seen before and never experienced before.
Well, it's, a lot of times in America, the war in Ukraine can be just a news article, but now this is personal because we have a mission partner. We support the work, the Lighthouse and Light of Jesus Church. Right. That's a monthly mission support, and Pastor Misha and his family, and Pastor Sasha and their family. These are folks that really are impacted by this. So it's a real deal, and something we need to pray for Pastor Misha and his family, protection for Pastor Sasha and his son. You have a son that's an older son that didn't come with you on here, and they have a family as well.
Yeah, they have a family. They had to leave Russia as soon as the war started, because we were kind of knew this was coming, so he had to get his family, leave everything behind, their apartment there in Tomsk, and so he had to take his family and move to Almaty.
So Pastor Misha came to America a few weeks ago, really kind of a sabbatical. We talk about a sabbatical where pastors and their families can get an extended period of rest. Pastor Randy had one of those earlier in the year. So he said, Misha's going to come over. And I said, oh, that's great. And not knowing, what he just told you, the news that happened in Russia, the decree that they made. And part of the concern here, people may think, well, that's not Russia, it's Kazakhstan. It's like extradition.
Yeah.
It is how we would say it in America, is that if someone is being looked for in one country, they extradite them. And Russia and Kazakhstan have a relationship where the Kazakhstan government will allow that to happen.
Yeah, they have all the agreements and laws in place.
So just because someone left Russia and they're in Kazakhstan, that doesn't mean they can't be sent back.
Yeah, it's not.
And if your name's on the list, that can happen, right?
It can happen, yeah.
Yeah. So that's just something to be aware of. Brings another level of insight and information about what's happening in our world and how people in their real lives are being impacted by that. But Pastor Misha comes over with his family, so that happens. And then a hurricane happens. It's the first hurricane you've been in, right?
My first hurricane, yeah. And
now, you've been in some major snowstorms, but not a hurricane.
Yeah, not a hurricane yet.
Blizzards,
I got
but
that
not
on my
hurricane.
list yet. Yeah, checked.
And you told me, you said you went to Texas with your family recently and went to your first American football game.
Yes, we had that, and when they were asking what would you guys would like to do, and we were coming with our children, so it was their first time in Texas, and ours was like quite about 10 years ago. We said, as Texas as you can go, we'd like to experience that. So we arrive, and they said, well, we thought that American football game would be a nice play. So we go in, we sit down on the stands, and the guys were there with us. They said, do you know the rules? And we go, no. So it was a interesting experience, learning the rules, watching the game.
And Texas high school football is bigger than most colleges around the country. Yeah. I mean, the stadiums, the amount of money they invest in those things, the teams themselves, it's a big deal. So when you said you went to it, Pastor Misha, I got to tell you, I was a little disappointed in the T-shirt I saw you wearing in a picture with Pastor Randy here recently. Mark will pop that up here. And Pastor Dustin actually used that in a message recently here. And I saw you having a Gators T-shirt on. And tell me that that was forced on you, that was not of your own volition, they just made you do that.
It was the last T-shirt that I was able to buy last time. It was on sale at Kohl's, and it was just a T-shirt.
Well, let me just say,
you couldn't find a Kentucky shirt, right?
No.
I'll give you one. I got plenty.
Good.
I got
Deal.
plenty. Pastor Dustin was really proud of that. He was really proud of pointing that out. So anyhow, there's a lot we could say with Pastor Misha, and I appreciate you joining us here today. And
thank you for
just letting us know a little bit more about what's happening. And this is something Journey's invested in, as we said. This is one of our mission partners. When Pastor Randy joined our staff, we started supporting the work at Kazakhstan. I've been there. Wonderful folks in the church. Yeah, there's some wonderful families there, but they are really in a tough spot in a lot of ways. Already were just because of the Christian faith in Kazakhstan. That was already a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, because you can't share your faith openly there like we can here. I mean, we can go anywhere and talk about Jesus, but they've changed the laws. So that you can get thrown in jail if you do that. And so it's kind of a undercover way of, evangelism and talking to people. But I'd ask that you pray for the church over in Kazakhstan as well as the church in Russia. Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of brothers and sisters over in Russia that they don't want, they don't want this war that's going on. They don't, and we've got, we've got friends that we converted that their children are now 19, 20 years old, that, the possibility of them having to fight and everything in that war is really bad.
Well, even as Pastor Misha said, up to 65. Can you imagine, being drafted? You aged out of that, but I'd be right there.
You'd be right there, brother.
I can't imagine if I had to go to war.
Yeah,
but that's real.
Yeah.
And so thanks, Pastor Misha, for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you for the invitation. We love visiting Journey, and it's always a great inspiration, and you're a great example.
Well, hopefully, when you come to visit again, there'll be power the whole time you're here, electrical power.
We'll put that on our
and
prayer
there won't
list
be a hurricane, and we'll get you in the right T-shirt.
All right.
All right. Hey, we're so glad you joined us today for Midweek Conversations. Thanks, Pastor Randy, for joining us as well. A lot of good stuff still happening. Rooted got kicked off a couple weeks ago. Wasn't able to meet this past Thursday, but Rooted's going to meet this Thursday.
Yes.
Did the prayer experience on Saturday, right?
Yeah, we did the prayer experience, and it went really well, and of course there were some people who weren't there, because of just what had been happening and everything. But we were praying for everybody and just doing the whole the whole 9 yards. And so it'll be just like regular this week.
All right. Serve Day's coming up into the month. A lot of the rooted groups, all the rooted groups, are going to participate in Serve Day. And if you want to join us in Serve Day, look at the link here and just go there and register. It is important for you to register, because we need to know how many people are going to be with us to go to the different sites. There are some project sites that need 6 people, some need 16, some might take 60. But we don't know how many to send unless you register. So please do that. And then this Sunday we'll start the Prepare the Way series. Our good friend, one of my frequent golfing partners and dear friends, Darren Key, is joining me for the message this week, as we introduce this idea of preparing the way, particularly personally. What's it look like to prepare the way personally with regard to your finances? And we have a gift for everybody this week. Every household that comes, we have a gift for you at Lake County, Anapopka, and even online. If you want the gift, you let us know in our online chat. We'll make sure that we send it to you. So looking forward to getting that kicked off this week. But thanks for joining us in Midweek Conversations, and as always, we're loving the journey.